Well, hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Joanne. I am the learner lawyer. I'm a law student from Australia. Just talking about things. Just want to state off the bat that everything is my opinion and shouldn't be taken as fact. You know, you can always go and do your own research. If I talk about somebody, go find out about them. So hope you're well. So there's a few things I want to talk about tonight. I know it's a really interesting one. And we've got a bit to talk about tonight. Hello, Vidandra. Yes, hello. I just finished watching Friendly Geordie's video because he's been away for a little while. And it was quite shocking. It's a long video, but it sort of takes you right back the whole chronological of the fact of getting sued, Christo's arrest, and all the stuff, and about his house being firebombed. I mean, if you want to talk about somebody that's a journalist, I think he would be he would be defined as a journalist. He's upset a lot of people, it would seem. It'll be interesting to see how it goes down because I think there'll be a few people not very happy. So it's out of the cast, which is good. It's been in a brace for Dandra, but the problem is it's still very painful. And if I take the brace off, I've got to do exercises. But it's it's very, very painful for me at the moment. So that's not good. So yeah, I just thought I'd come on and chat and say hello. And oh yeah, I know I did 2 weeks. I did 2 this week. I thought I'd better make up for the fact that I've been a bit slack. Though I've sort of done a pre-plan. Unfortunately, I really need to have a camera just sitting here because sometimes I just sit here and I just need to do something just to de-stress, and that's what I do when I de-stress. See, unfortunately, I've already started on next week's, so the layout and stuff. So, yeah. But, life is getting pretty busy now. I've got something like 11 students that I teach now over 2 days. So it's getting rather busy. And that's next week's as well. So that's coming up. I haven't put everything in there yet, next week's, but, How is the time stamping going for me? It's not. Oh dear. No, it's not. It's not. It's it's time blocking. Yeah, it hasn't been working for me. So and the other thing is I didn't print out enough and I ran out of paper, so I've had to get more paper. So definitely interesting. We'll see how we go because I'm only home now 2 days in the week. When I've come home from work the last 2 days, I've actually I've gone to sleep. So let's start off with MGL. So she had a new channel up. It got 700 subscribers. It now has disappeared. It was Michelle Gets Lemons was her channel, and it disappeared as quickly as it was there. Michelle Gets Lemons. Why? Here's the thing, Michelle. Michelle, if you are trying to get on YouTube undetected, don't use the initials MGL. Don't use the initials MGL because that's obvious. And they probably got it flagged so that every time a new channel appears with those initials, they check it out. So if you want to come in and not be noticed, you've got to give it a time. I mean, she bragged, if you remember rightly, that she would start this new channel and nobody would know what it was. Well, everybody knows what it is because she's using the same all the same bits and pieces. So, yeah, the 327th channel, Vedandra, that's correct. Make sure you hit like and subscribe as well. That would be really, really good. I'm going to link Friendly Geordie's video because that was amazing. It was actually quite shocking, I found, to be quite shocking. With some of the things. He did say his state's the crime capital of Australia. It's all about dodgy dealings. Oh, dear. So let's get on with that journalist YouTuber. Now, there was something, I have to say, there was something that really cracked me up when she starts. I love it when she starts quoting scripture because I love it. So, because it's funny. Here we go. This is what she shared, and this is what's cracked me up. And I know she's trying to make a serious point. But there's something on here that you need to, for me. So she says, I am not a Christian, but I do know the Bible. Well, yes, even Satan himself knows the Bible. But anyway, we won't go down that path. But anyway, it always amazes me when fundamentalists and religious extremists believe it's their right to judge others. Have they not read the Gospels? Mark 7:1-6 would be a great place to go when you see a Christian spouting off their hate for people in the LGBTQ. Now, here's the interesting thing. This is the bit that cracked me up. Verse 6, don't waste what is holy on people who are unholy. Don't throw your pearls to pigs. They will trample the pearls, then turn and attack you. That is what cracked me up because she's spouting off about all this thing about judgment and everything. And I don't know what Bible she's using there. It seems. See, someone says it makes me sad that you're not a Christian just because you seem to know this beautiful faith so well. Either way, I admire you. Oh, gee whiz. See, and then somebody else says judging has different meanings. 1 Corinthians 5:12 actually says don't judge those outside the church, leave those to God, but judge those inside the church. Judging doesn't mean using discernment. Bible is full of verses telling one to do so. But don't judge people like a judge would. So JB judges Jill and kicks her out of the family. Jimmy better watch out or he'll be kicking his own butt out and won't be making it past the pearly gates. So as I said, what cracks me up about here is, so she's got here, do not judge others and you will not be judged, for you'll be treated as you treat others. The standard you use in judging is the standard by which you will be judged. Again, she's putting down scripture. What does she do for her job? She judges others. So what do we say? For the standard you use in judging is the standard by which you will also be judged. And why worry about the speck in your friend's eye when you have a log in your own? How can you think of saying to your friend, let me help you get rid of that speck in your eye when you can't see past the log in your own eye? Hypocrite, get rid of the log in your own eye, then you will see well enough to deal with the speck in your friend's eye. Now, this is the other interesting thing. Now, some of the stuff that KJ is bringing up is from the past. And I'm a bit of a person that thinks your past is your past. Why should you be punished on things you've done in your past? There are many people there that have had drug problems and they battle every day with it. And they've done a mighty job to conquer that demon. And if if you're sober and you've got on with life and you've sort of, you've bettered your life, why should you be judged on on what you did in the past. Why can't the future be looked at? And so a lot of the stuff that she's pulling up is, I mean, how many times have you changed your mind about something? You might have thought some way, and then you've learnt something and you've changed your mind. I'm sure that's allowed. I'm sure changing your mind is actually allowed in this world. And so a lot of the stuff she brings up is actually in the past. So, but yeah, verse 6, don't waste what is holy on people who are unholy. Don't throw your pearls to the pigs. They will trample the pearls and turn to attack you. Now, she's not happy because on this one, because the son apparently allegedly didn't credit her. Now, again, here is another contradiction. She says, hello, Cal, please credit bloggers and independent outlets like me when reporting stories. She's calling herself a blogger again. It's customary to indicate who reported the story first, regardless of it, if this is a magazine, blog, or news bulletin or news outlet. The Sun, please credit me. So now she's back to being a blogger. And again, so this is what I'm talking about in the past. It says he's tied to a man and he's facing a lawsuit. And it's back to, February 2020. Things can change in that time. She's sharing an interview. I'm living for Christine's music choice. The food, not so much, but the music, yes. I know, Cal. Isn't that good? Did you watch it? I'm assuming you watched Jordan, because it was quite amazing. I'm going to get to him in a minute. There's no, it's interesting. I did watch some of those things, and she's cut those videos. So she's really someone give this man an Oscar for the performance. Now I want to get to the Christine Brown stuff. So she said she wasn't comfortable because he'd been leaked online. But again, hang on. She bragged that she asked about. She wrote something on their Facebook page. Just this is interesting. So this was 4 days ago. That's what she did. So let's go here. So when we get to the Christine Brown here. All right. Here you go. So she's saying that, here you go. So, and then the Duggars, but there was something about, she deleted it. She didn't have, oh no, or is it this one? Where she must have deleted something because there was something there. Anyway, I think she's deleted some stuff. She deleted the post where she went, yes. Did she? Thank you, Nail. She deleted that one, did she? Where she went into the part, went into his background and found out, talked about his deceased wife and his bankruptcy. So she deleted all of that. To me, that was a big invasion of privacy. Huge invasion of privacy. Oh, it's on Twitter, is it? Well, on her Twitter or on, I think, let me have a look, see if I can find it here. I reckon with Balls would have it. So let's have a look. I really, here it is. Of course. Now so she went from talking about the Sun not crediting her and being a blogger. So now she does this. She says, I am a reporter and media outlet. If you expect anything than reporting, which what I've shared is all public record, please unfollow. The following information is shared without opinion or bias on a public figure and her new public boyfriend. Is the boyfriend public? Question. Does that make somebody public? It's interesting because there are many public figures in Australia, for example. In fact, Dolly Parton is as public figure as they come. Her husband doesn't like the limelight. He's not in it. There's a performer in Australia called Rhonda Birchmore. Now, her husband is a psychiatrist. And because of his job, he stays out the limelight. So here's my question. Just because he's dating and don't forget, Christine Brown has blocked Katie Joy from Instagram because remember she complained that she got blocked or she got blocked by her. So how did she get the photos? So now she's back to being a reporter and media outlet. WOACB has done some sleuthing on David Woolley. According to his Facebook, he's been in relationship with Christine since December 2022. Since December 10, 2022. This means they've been dating for 2 months. He's a widower. His wife passed away in 2012. He owns a drywall company. According to court records, he's had some financial issues, declared bankruptcy in 2014. According to filings, he's declared over $1.1 million in debt. At the time of the filing, his reported income for the previous 3 years was less than $27,000 annually. He had an IRS tax liens, outstanding business loans, and a massive American Express bill. His bankruptcy was discharged a few months later. WOACB did not find any criminal history. According to his late wife's obituary, her funeral was held at a LDS ward in Utah. David's family has a long history in the LDS faith. His father converted to the religion before he was born. Prior to his bankruptcy, he owned a massive home in Herriman, Utah, with over 6,500 square feet. Today, he's downsized to a modest home with 3 beds, 2 baths, and 50. Who cares? When his late wife died, he had several minor children. The youngest appears to have been 6 at her time of death. Who cares? That, to me, as I said, now she's saying that about a public figure. As I said, my question to you is, if he's dating Christine, so if he's dating Christine Brown, does that make him a public figure? Or does it not make him a public figure? And the other thing is the fact that she's now deleted it. Does that mean she doesn't stand by her reporting, or she does stand by her reporting? Or what does that mean? You know, why? Or is it because she got negative comments and people were calling her out on it and she didn't like it? I mean, that's probably, I think that's more of it. So, yeah, what do you think about all of that? So, very interesting indeed. You only delete things if you're regretful or embarrassed. Well, that's what I would think, Cal, but I think she's been called out by a lot of people. Let me just pull up some of those comments that she got. People were saying that she had gone too far, and I think she's gone too far. Ooh. Oh. Xenophon Davis, you know, Jordan Shanks, I'm just doing a segue here. Jordan Shanks's lawyers just shared this on their page. So it says, so they are representing David McBride, who is a whistleblower. It says the cost of the public of trying to jail whistleblower David McBride is more than $1.8 million. Not only does the department not accept this as an eye-watering amount of money, there is no plan to stop spending more. This is really scary. Have a listen. Listen to this.
$1.8 million, is it $2.5 million, is it $10 million? Is there some point at which we say your department reviews the lavish use of public money to jail a whistleblower?
Characterisation of lavish.
$1.875 million.
Significant amount of money, but
can we agree on eye-watering?
No, I would only use significantly large. No, I would only use significant.
$1.8 million, is it a $2.5 million?
Gee, $1.8 million is not significant or eye-watering. Really? What would you do with $1.8 million? I'd be able to buy my house. It'd be life-changing for me. Oh, dear. Oh. Said she did it because there was a backstory to the post-sexual report. It was posted by somebody else, but they tagged the Balls account. Okay, yeah. Okay. So she's deleted it because of the backstory. But what do we need to know? He's not a public figure. As I said, there are lots of people who date public figures, who go out with public figures, and nobody cares about them because they focus on the public figure. But you know, they're entitled to have their life. You can't help who you fall in love with. And then this is what, yes, I mean, interesting, Cal, because he did have to do some updates to that. If you notice, he did some updates where he said since he'd done the video, he had to do some edits because of the fact things had changed. Oh, I'm sure she was getting backlash about it. Because why wouldn't she? I mean, it's just, But the problem is she still gets people watching her videos. They'll still all watch her videos. They'll all still watch her videos. They will all still follow her on Twitter or whatever it is, and on Facebook. The only way for her to get to be dealt with is for them to not pay any attention to her. Or to call her out and join the Blocked by Katie Joy team, because if it's blocked by Katie Joy, then, you know, she can't block the whole internet. At some point in time, she's got to realise that you can't block the whole internet. Just trying to get the pictures to come up. All right. Here it is. Here's some of those comments that she got called out on. And thank you to Ball, the Balls account. Oops, where are we? Windows. This one. Yep, this one. Okay. This one says, I wish people could just be happy for her. I'm not here to be a fan. If that's why you are here, unfollow. But I thought she was a fan of Christine. Doesn't she love Christine? She doesn't know whether she's a fan or follower. And then someone says, there are flags. I just wish people would realise plastering this kind of info about their relationships on social media is just not necessary. I wish them nothing but the best. Stretch, haven't people been calling her Queen Christine? So naturally she's looking for a king. Just let them to be happy. Unfollow then. Love bombing is a real tactic men use to get women that are vulnerable in. Whoa. What happened to my shared screen? So she's accusing him of love bombing now. So, I mean, I guess you forget she knows everything. Didn't she post a few weeks ago that she was awkward online dating? I'm happy for her, but it seems this was all for attention. Yes, but that was show timing. I'm sure they've been together longer than a few weeks. The entire outing of their relationship was carefully managed by the show. Yes, it's the honeymoon phase. A lot of couples love to flaunt their love all over social media. Well, I don't, to be honest with you. I don't. I don't think there's any photos. But anyway. And so that was, yeah, so that's all of that stuff there. So yeah, public figure. I mean, the other interesting thing is Jordan Shanks is a public figure, but his fiance we don't see. Nobody, you know, I don't want to say nobody cares about her. It's not that nobody cares about her. There are pictures of them. We just leave her alone because she's not a public figure. So then she got called out because she'd said that there was some red flags 3 days ago on a post. And now she's forgotten them all. It's just amazing how she forgets all of that stuff. So this was 3 days ago. If it's the man they say he is, I'm happy for her. I just want her to be happy and adored. She appears so. Thank you to With Balls as well for this. If that's the man, I'm concerned, very concerned. What? Why? There are 3 different pictures out there. None of them have been put out by Christine. This guy, is this the guy people have concerns about? I'm glad she's found love. Why are they concerned? I took it because I was taken back and immediately like, okay, I want to know the details when this comes out. My sister-in-law went through something similar with her rebound guy to have some bad skeletons. I'm kind of curious. without a crystal ball, I have a screenshot where you said you were concerned if it was this person. So she's forgotten what she said 3 days ago, where she says, if that's the man, I'm concerned, very concerned. And Cal says he's had her on before, but he protects her, and so he should. So my point is, I guess, Cal, is so Christine Brown is a public figure. She's her new boyfriend, like she's got photos of her boyfriend, and so Katie Joy's now just dug into his life because she's saying he's now a public figure. So my point is, does that give people the right to dig into people's pasts because they're dating a public figure? And because Jordan protects his fiancée, I would say no. That doesn't give you the right to do that. So there's lots of public figures out there that have photos with their partners that are kept out of the limelight, or they're on their social media, and because they're not the public figure. I mean, it happens a lot with sports people as well. You know, we don't know a lot unless they're public figures themselves. We don't know a lot about the partners of sports people. So, you know, I just think it's I just think it's not on. I think it's tacky. I'm going to share this video with you. This is the Friendly Geordies video because he's somebody that we cover a lot on the channel. If you're watching this on the replay crew, or if you're live, you can put in your Barilaro figures, your bruz pictures, because he gets a bit of a mention in this video. It's very interesting. And look, parliamentarians too. Well, that's true too. Politicians, that's right. Politicians often have their partners with them when they go to functions, often. But we don't go and dig into their backstories unless it requires them to. So going and digging into the backstories of non-public figures is tacky. Now, things may change. The reporter extraordinaire has stated that he's apparently going to be on the Sister Wives episodes again. Does that mean that there is a public figure? I don't know. But they're all questions that need to be asked, I guess. Ooh. So, yeah, so I'm definitely interested to see what you all think about this. Ooh. Stuff. She is emboldened by her followers as well. They defend her and she continues, I've given up. Yeah, look, the only way she will actually change, and I don't know, I mean, I don't know whether she will actually. I don't know. Comment in here. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I was just reading something today. See if I can pull it up. So just recently, the federal court in Australia has put a ban on media reporting cases before they've had their first hearing. And the federal court has just changed. Federal court, so the way the media can report on cases in the federal court have changed. So there was all the media outlets complained about it, and they barred the media from accessing documents until really the media was saying it was really stopping reporting because you can't report on anything. So anyway, the Chief Justice has stated that they've loosened the controls. So you can't go and pull up documents in Australia. So it says they've loosened the controversial restrictions blocking access to key documents until a case had appeared before a judge after backlash from journalists and editors across the major media companies. Journalists argued that the changes were a full frontal assault on the principle of open justice and risked keeping crucial information about court cases secret for longer than necessary. So on Sunday afternoon, the court shared an update to the rules that would let non-parties such as media apply to access to unrestricted documents like statement of claims, original rating applications and concise statements before a hearing, but only if all parties agree. So now the media has to apply to the court, and both parties have to agree that that information can be released. The court will properly consult with parties to determine whether the respondent or respondents have been served and determine whether an application for a suppression order or non-publication order will be made. A procedure note said the court expects any such application to be made promptly. So if you don't want it to get it, so that means now politicians, when they sue people, they can state that they're going to apply for a suppression order. So until mid-January, court changes to court rules, journalists have been able to access with relative ease the applications or statements of claims that provided limited details about a case. The rule changes agreed by court's 51 judges in December placed restrictions on those documents until the case first appeared in court. The judges did not believe consultation was required for the changes because they had very limited impact for parties and are administrative or internal in nature. The update from Chief Justice James Alsop noted that while the principles of open justice was the overarching guiding principle of the court, it would not come at the expense of fairness to parties involved in legal proceedings. The principle of open justice is not absolute and must be balanced with the need of the court to act at all times in the interests of justice and avoid prejudice to the administrative of justice or other potential harm, he wrote. The court needed to adopt new rules that protects parties against the abuse of its procedures, he added. It is believed the changes were partly driven by concerns about litigants, including information about people and businesses they were suing that were not relevant to the case and could be embarrassing if made public. Hello, Katie Joy. Publication of claims and allegations before respondents have been given an opportunity to raise any claim that the court's procedures are being used improperly also creates the possibility of unfairness. The new rules mean that when the media asks to see public documents, the court registry will ask all parties involved whether they are filing a suppression or non-publication order. If they do want to suppress information, the case will be heard by the judge before the documentation are released. The changes came after a complaint signed by more than 58 journalists from all the major outlets was sent to Chief Justice. Separately, the editors of the 9 mastheads, the Australian Financial Review, Sydney Morning Herald, The Age, Brisbane Times and WA Today, also wrote to the Chief Justice asking for the new rule to be reconsidered. So that are the new rules now in place. So this is the Chief Justice. So it's getting harder for non-parties to access documents in Australia of court proceedings. So very interesting, isn't it? Unless, of course, in Australia, they are public interest. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, and that's one thing that you can, I mean, we know Katie Joy hasn't had evidence at all for a lot of the stuff that she says she's got sources, but we know. I mean, one of the things that I do like about even Jordan's latest video was he's taking you back through the evidence. Everything that he said, he's backed up. And I was really interested to discover that he was just as baffled as I was that Google didn't plead any defences in the defamation with Barilaro. That shocked me. So as I said, I've tagged. I think I've pinned. I think I've pinned it. Yeah. Oops. No, I pinned the wrong comment. I pinned Cal's comment. What? Oh, gee whiz. I'm silly. All right. I'm not very good at this. Pin message. So I have pinned the Friendly Geordie's video to the page because you really need to see this because it's actually quite surprising. I'm going to go back and watch it again because it's so good. It was so good. Thank you to all those that have liked my video. I'm going to call it a night. It is getting late. I've had a big day, although I did come home and have a sleep. I have a little bit more respect for teachers. Google IMO got fed up and it was just pocket change. Well, that's true. I mean, it was probably pocket change. But I had lots of questions. So just show you, I just wanted to show you just a little, I'm going to show you a little snippet of the Friendly Geordies video and why you need to watch it. So he got firebombed. Now, I think the most interesting thing is I'll just show you the start of it. We'll look at the start of it here.
Hello, it's been a quiet few months. Late one night last November, my house was firebomb.
A fiery message that's hard to muse.
Police are tonight hunting an arsonist who targeted the home of controversial Friendly Geordies YouTube blogger Jordan Shanks. It's the second time the property has been firebombed in a week.
Obviously, we've done some extremely dangerous reporting over the last year, I suppose, of a bunch of extremely powerful people and corporations. There is many people that would want to do that.
No one has the record that he has, but doing some hard-hitting journalism, and this is his payday. Someone's trying to kill him.
And what I now know was a premeditated attack, that at best was intended to terrify me, and at worst was intended to kill me.
So it's very interesting that that was the report. And again, this story has fallen off the map. Nobody's talking about it.
The firebombers, they forgot to take one thing into account. I'm very disorganised. The night that happened, I was supposed to be sleeping here. I don't even have smoke alarm. So there's a very good chance that if I was, I could have ended up like the content you're watching right now. For life. But I wasn't here because that week I was performing my live show in Melbourne and I forgot my keys while I was down there. So there, criminals outwitted. It reminds me of that quote, if we don't know what we're doing, then the enemy certainly can't anticipate our future actions.
That's a very interesting, that's very interesting. See, over here, Google is not protected over here. So Google got sued.
Well, I was sleeping somewhere else that night with the firebombers. But I will admit, the firebombers did succeed in terrifying me. And I've spent the last couple of months doing two things apart from the firebombers' mums. That's hiding and ruminating. This video is a culmination of that rumination. This is an explanation of who could have possibly have done this to such a small, relatively unknown Australian YouTuber. And hey, if that sounds too dry, well, you kids like Knives Out or whatever, stick around. It's a pretty interesting whodunit.
It's as I said, I mean, I would. All right, so let's have a look. So we'll keep watching this, I guess.
Sorry, I'm going to have to film the rest here because the asbestos was getting to us. Just in case you didn't know, I'm Australian from the great state of New South Wales, home to over 8 million people. And compared to other Australian states, New South Wales is a particularly dirty place.
It's interesting he says that. So just for context, let me just show you something.
Film the rest here because the asbestos was getting to us. Just in case you didn't know, I'm Australian from the great state of...
So this is New South Wales here. I live in this bit here. Living here. Cal's all the way over here. I know Cal and Cactus Bill lives in this side too. This is West Australia. Without a lawyer, Peter lives up here. I don't know anyone that, no, I know people that, but I don't know any YouTubers that live in here. I'm sure that there's people that live in South Australia, and you got Queensland, and you got ACT in here, this little bit here, and you got Tasmania. So that's essentially where we're all located. So I'm in here. Here. Just like the little speck just here.
New South Wales, home to over 8 million people. Compared to other Australian states, New South Wales is a particularly dirty place. We're the gambling capital of the world, we're the cocaine capital of the world, and not in a cool El Chapo way. We just have a lot of coke users here, the highest per capita reading.
Now, what I found really interesting was in the defamation case, they were accusing Jordan Shanks of taking the news articles out of context, but he actually shows the news articles on the screen, highlights the bits that he's quoting, and you can obviously see that. It's up to the people to go and have a look and find the news articles themselves, because you've got here the headline, you've got here the date that it was done, and you've got the author of the article. So if you wanted to go do your research, that's what you'd be doing.
For this story, it's important to understand that New South Wales is a state that was created by criminals. And let's be honest, we really have stuck to our roots. During the early stages of our colony, our de facto currency was rum. When an English governor was sent here to attempt to rein it in, we cooed him. Look at him hiding under the bed like he's me. Coward! That's our first political cartoon, by the way. At the 20th century, our police force, political class, and criminal underworld had a rich culture of working hand in hand to maximise each other's use. And, let's be honest, despite numerous inquiries uncovering the extent of corruption and criminal penetration into the institutions of New South Wales, nothing has really shocked the system into radically cleaning up its act. On a completely unrelated note, let me introduce you to the former Deputy Premier of New South Wales, John Barilaro.
It's very clever how we do it. It's our bruz.
He's been the topic of many of my past videos. And look, just to be clear, I'm not alleging anything here. And it is too big of a jump to go from beating a cameraman in public to firebombing a house. So obviously I'm not saying he did it, but he did do this. Wailed on a cameraman. We'll get to that in a second, but first, you're going to have to endure an extremely bizarre twisting tale. For the new viewers, here's how I made an enemy of basically every powerful person in the state.
Okay, so here we go. So this is bizarre. But actually, even this is such a good video. Even as he goes through this all, my mind's going, if I didn't see this all play out, I wouldn't believe it. And we followed the whole defamation case with Friendly Geordies, and from John Barilaro against Friendly Geordies. We've followed it all, and I still find it hard to believe.
John Barilaro was the equivalent of a lieutenant governor. He was the deputy premier of New South Wales from 2016 to 2021 until he quit, blaming my cyberbullying. How do we?
Yes, he blamed cyberbullying. After 10 years in politics, Mr. Barilaro said alleged violent racist attacks from a 32-year-old political commentator known online as Friendly Geordies has taken a toll on his personal life.
My cyberbullying. How do we get to the point where the most powerful man in the most powerful state in Australia claims that he's decided to resign because of a YouTube beat?
A YouTube, and Friendly Geordies has 703,000 subscribers. And you're talking about a politician that was deputy second in charge of a state with 8 million people. Right.
It kind of begins with videos I was making about the insane land clearing rates in New South Wales because of the...
Yeah, Cal says, I live in the most isolated capital city in the world and the windiest in Australia, middle of nowhere. Love Perth. Surprise bruz is no longer suppressed. Yeah. as Cal said, I'm sure this had to get cleared by the lawyer because he's he's going to yeah. I think you'll find. Anyway, let's keep going with this.
Actions of John Barilaro's government, led by Premier Gladys Berejiklian, we had an increase in land clearing rates by over 1,300%, making Australia the only developed nation having a global deforestation and putting koalas on track for extinction by 2050. So repeatedly, I called Premier Gladys Berejiklian koala killer over. In mid-2020, I also interviewed the opposition leader Joanne Cochrane, where we discussed the government's appalling record.
She's no longer the opposition leader anymore. Chris Minns is now. And as I said, there's an election, so Chris Minns could possibly be the Premier of New South Wales.
John Barilaro takes issue with this interview and the nickname and decides to white knight for his boss on radio.
Seen some of these banners online or physically where, you know, they call Gladys the koala killer.
Obviously, I found that very amusing and did a video that included this
Right, watch this.
impression. Oh, what the? She's never even personally killed one koala. The one she backed over was an accident, bro. I'm like, what'd you call a koala killer? What the fuck's the body? I don't see the koala. Where's the fucking DNA evidence, bro? Still gets laughs to this day, one of the classics. Then one morning, we got calls from sources in New South Wales Parliament claiming that John Barilaro was very shitty at that video.
So, yeah.
And puffing, claiming that the impression was racist. I remember this happening because I couldn't believe how stupid the claim was.
Now, this is where the racist claim gets really, really, really bizarre. And Jordan Shanks will explain why this claim is bizarre. Because Friendly Geordies has immigrants as migrants. You know, his family came in as migrants to Australia. So, yeah, watch.
We're all thinking, no way is he going to publicly say something about this. And then this article came out. YouTube comedian in racist low blow towards Premier. He responded by planting a story in the newspaper that alleged because I did an impression of him, I was racist against Italians and the migrant success story. This is the same paper that posted this cartoon a few months later.
So interesting, isn't it?
This, I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. So inaccurate. There's no way he'd be that tactful in his threat. This is what it actually read. Yeah, I'm threatening you, dickhead. I don't give a that this is an open line. We couldn't believe it. I think the team and I were in Goulburn Subway when we first read it. We were pissing ourselves. John Barilaro was a man who built a career railing against political correctness, and now he was in an article taking issue with him doing an impression of him, and specifically annoyed by the inclusion of the word bruz. That's Australian slang for brother/cousin, usually
Bruz, yes, everyone's calls, yeah.
used by utter legends. The most ironic part of that article is that my family immigrants were raised that less than 100 years ago was part of Italy. John didn't even bother checking that before throwing out his sob story. So we thought a whiny, sensitive, fat Italian man who also happens to be the most powerful man in the state. Content gold. HBO understood that 20 years
ago. Content gold. Oh dear.
Obviously, we came up with a bunch of stupid nicknames and animations about him, including the classic. Sabi, Barilaro, do you like these koalas? Oh, we've approved a countless development and logging proposals in koala habitat, starving them, fast-forwarding their extinction clock, and didn't make any effort at all in an attempt to save their population. All with the help of my good friend, yay! By mutilating Labour's Native Vegetation Act, I thought I'd increase land clearing by 45%, but
I wonder whether he's going to get in trouble for this video. That's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering if he's going to get in trouble for it because people are watching it. I mean, it's had 20,000 views and it premiered 106 minutes ago. 20,000 views. Yeah, well, look, I don't know. I don't know what's suppressed and what's not. That's what I'm not sure. But as I said, I would assume that he's had it cleared by the lawyers. And obviously the lawyers believe that they can defend it.
What's the dates? I increased it about 1,300%. Mamma mia! When I discovered the Brumbies were destroying Kosciuszko National Park, bringing a bunch of endangered species to the brink of extinction, I was gonna offer as a code, but then I realized I could make a $10,000 in donations by allowing them to destroy the park. Woohoo! Everything in my life was going great until, what's that date? Brent. Oh! Someone hurt my feelings.
It's hilarious. Put a 1 in the chat if you think that's funny. Put a 2 in the chat if you think that that's offensive. A 1 in the chat if you think it's funny. A 2 in the chat if you think it's offensive. I think it's funny. To me, that's satire. There's a 1. I've got a 1. And don't forget, Australians are well known for, taking the mick out of ourselves as well.
We also made some merch. Anyway, this was all super auspicious because, I swear to God, earlier in the year, unrelated to this new build, we realised John Barilaro had this palatial multi-million-dollar estate in Airbnb as a side hustle to his other gig, being the leader of a state. We thought, surely this is the dumbest thing you could do, right? Like, especially since the other half of the time, it's not Airbnb, that's where he lives.
So that's where he lives. So it was his actual house. See, I thought, that's just... And yet then he complained in his defamation case about the fact that his life was threatened, but he was openly... If you're using your house as an Airbnb, then whose fault is it if your safety's at risk? Serious, I didn't realise that.
Wouldn't it be good if we filmed a video on the history of all the shitty things he's done, but film it at that Airbnb? So that's where one of our biggest videos, Bruz, comes from, which was released in September of 2020, which I've got to say, it had a very good twist. This is probably gathered, or happened to be that dumb. I'm filming at your estate, and I want you to be first to know. Right? Oh, Stooge, we tracked the video. It's coming from inside the house. You wouldn't expect this from me, but I highly recommend this video. Links in the description. Obviously, the video caused quite a stir. Front page news, in fact. Unbeknownst to us at the time, and it was later revealed by New South Wales Parliament after that video came out, John was demanding the police conduct a bug sweep of the property. Something that would cost the taxpayers 10 grand. Despite the fact we paid almost that much to stay at the property. Just imagine how stupid and entitled it is to be Deputy Premier and lease one of your primary residences out to anyone. I never considered doing this before, but say a property
Isn't that amazing? See, I didn't realise that. I did not realise that that was his primary residence and he was hiring it out. So you could have anybody have stayed there. That's pretty stupid of Barilaro to have done that, in my opinion. That's stupid. Oh, well, I guess, I don't know, did he need the money?
developer wants a favour. They can very easily get material to blackmail you. I have an unlicensed casino in my basement. Please don't tell the authorities. Also, if you wrong me, you end up in this secret room. There you go, some unreleased footage from Bruz. More on that at the end of the video, so stay tuned. Anyway, after the release of Bruz, John became increasingly agitated by the videos of the lady. One in particular seemed to really bother the Barilaro family. It was called The Italian Job. That was released in November of 2020. It was an expose that detailed how John and his dad, before politics, became the directors of their local town.
So remember, can you just, like, this is just bizarre. This is all just bizarre. This is, and how can one person have so much stuff on them, politician or not?
They then racked up a bunch of unsecured debt and as directors sold the clubhouse property to a company they directed and owned shares in, thus becoming the landlords. They then jacked up the rent against themselves, forcing the Italian club to go defunct and leaving them with the property as directors of the club they had already sold to themselves for a bargain. Later, they sold that property, formerly owned by the Italian community, to developers, making a $700,000 profit. Wow, now that's a migrant success story. And if that's all too complex,
Wow, isn't that, like, as I said, this is just too crazy. This is too crazy to be true. Too crazy, but it is all true, unfortunately. Unfortunately, it's all true.
full video is linked in the description. But in short, it was just Pete's dodge. In another video, I called Barilaro up and attempted to ask him about allegations surrounding him and extramarital affairs. Turns out, John's intimate relationships would eventually come under scrutiny in a corruption hearing concerning his boss's intimate relationships. But that's a story for another day. I didn't know this at the time, but these videos caused John's office to contact the New South Wales Police Force just days after their release, specifically the
counter-terrorism unit. How's that?
Terrorism and Special Tactics. New South Wales Police then set up a dedicated strike force to put surveillance on us.
Look at that. Mr. Barilaro's legal counsel served the cease to desist. The content is clear and concise. Material published now 21 videos. Linker has been removed from the State Emergency Operations Centre at a press conference after gaining entry on an invalid press pass. The matter in which Linker addressed the Premier was also reported. An assessment of Shanks' material, putting aside material related to the defamation proceedings, revealed indications of stalking by Shanks and racist, abusive, degrading and offensive material. Encouragement was given by Shanks for others to technically attack, dox, troll and threaten Mr. Barilaro. Shanks also rang Mr. Barilaro and accused him of extramarital affairs, recorded the call and posted it on YouTube. Shanks and Lanka rented a property owned by Mr. Barilaro under false pretenses and recorded offensive and degrading material which was posted on YouTube. So that's what some of the complaints were.
A YouTube channel. That's right. In Australia, our terror police go after YouTube channels. It was called Strike Force Wyargent. What the is Wyargent? Why couldn't they have just called it what they were targeting? Strike Force Big Cop. I told you this was a bizarre story, but it gets stranger. At the same time this is happening, John's also contacting defamation lawyers, who we have also confirmed were at some point in contact with the Strike Force.
Which again is very interesting. This is Barilaro's Chief of Staff, Detective Sergeant in the Strike Force. Oops. I've just lost it. My computer has just got a mind of its own at the moment.
Wyargent. What the is Wyargent? Why couldn't they have just called it what they were targeting? Strike Force Big Cop. I told you this was a bizarre story, but it gets stranger. At the same time this is happening, John's also contacting defamation lawyers, who we have also confirmed were at some...
Yeah, so then we've got Detective Sergeant in the Strike Force, and then you've got his defamation lawyer of Mark O'Brien Legal. So please see attached email from Mr. Barilaro back to Mr. Lanka last year. Happy for you to discuss directly with Mr. Sivlans I spoke to DP directly after the incident on June 4th. How best would you like me to provide a statement? So Chief of Staff, Detective Sergeant, lawyer, all linked.
Point in contact with the strike force surveilling us. The defamation lawyers draft up this absolutely schizophrenic letter detailing all of John's grievances with the videos I made, including that I called him a greasy little scrotum. He needed to clear the record on that one. Let everyone know that's not true. This letter gets sent to me just a few days before Christmas of 2020. And because unlike you Americans, we don't have your First Amendment in this country, someone can very easily take you to court for calling them a stupid fat idiot, which was something else that the lawyers whinged about in this letter.
But could... Yes.
The first few months of 2021 were fine. They were pretty quiet, unbeknownst to us that a police terror unit is surveilling us on behalf of the guy that we exposed in that tunnel. But we know we have to respond to this nutty letter at some point, so we thought, what better place than a university forum that Barilaro respects? We pay him a visit. He tells us stories. This is all detailed in the video Drug Eternal, which goes through all of the content of the legal what we got. The video has now been taken off of YouTube, I think because we advertised the greasy little scrotum keywords we were selling. You can still watch that video on our website though, links in the description.
Now this is interesting because you can still watch the videos.
Obviously, this exchange jolted John's greedy defo lawyers into action, and they filed in the federal court, leaking this fact to the press before we even knew. I had to find out in the press. What am I? A murder victim? Jesus, it's like the night crawlers coming before the cops. Oh, and side note, for his lawyers, he got attorneys who at the time were representing alleged war criminals and a barrister who was just prohibited by court from acting for a client, another one of Australia's most colourful politicians, because of a conflict of interest.
So yes, I don't think he likes her. But Sue Chrysanthou, the barrister, has just agreed to represent Lisa Wilkinson in the defamation case against that Bruce Lerman has brought against her.
Only the best. Around this time, I'm told by my neighbours that while I was away on tour, the police came and visited my house. I thought, that's quite bizarre, so I called up the police, who at first denied that there was any visit at all. And only after Mark quotes a time and date does he get transferred to the Counter-Terrorism and Special Tactics Command. Specifically, the 680 Persons Unit, a unit set up in the wake of a deadly siege in the centre of Sydney. Basically, this unit's MO is to stop lone wolf terrorists. People like, I don't know, Joker or Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver. It's actually truly me. The police officer there informs Mark that he had a warrant for my arrest and he was at my house to arrest me, but I wasn't there. So the police seemingly had time to think, walk back from the brink, and were apparently awaiting legal advice. Anyway.
So interesting, isn't it? Yes, so Lisa, that's the other thing is that she's not using the Channel 10 legal team, and she's paying for the team out of her own pocket. So I would assume that she's not going to settle. I think the assumption is Channel 10 is probably going to try and the 10 network's probably going to want to settle, just to move it on.
Anyway, back to the lawsuit. Because we hadn't been served yet, we decided to have a little fun and do what is perhaps the greatest Friendly Jordan's gag in history, because we hadn't been handed the documents.
We are on the elevator up to Mark O'Brien Legal to ask to be served because it's been a week exactly. The press knows all about what I've done wrong. I don't. Let's find out. I serve you here with the written application. Oh, thanks so much. And
so we've been served, and what they gave us, in my honest opinion, is another one crop of shit that was not only riddled with delusional paranoid readings of CJs, but had straight out factual errors, like mistaking their own client John Barilaro for being a federal politician instead of a state politician. Absolute geniuses. For Americans, that's like lawyers acting for DeSantis or some other governor thinking he's president.
Oh dear. I still can't get my head around that mistake.
Embarrassingly stupid mistake for a normal person, let alone lawyers. Not much happens for about a day. Then on the 4th of June 2021, my producer Christo was walking back from uni. He was already planning on meeting our lawyer Mark that day, so he had the documents on him. Yet on the way back, he bumps into Barillaro himself. Attempted to hand back the documents to tell him about the mistake. You know, being listed as a federal politician, Barillaro basically took no notice. Then, only a few hours later... No, I'm not allowed to film it. Could you
I'm allowed to film it.
Could you film this, Mum? You can film it. That's
Okay.
okay. I'm not allowed to. No, Mum, you can take my phone. No, you can take my phone. No, take my phone. Take my phone. Don't do it.
So remember that? We covered that. We watched this in real time.
They're giving away evidence to try to run away with it. Yeah? Don't run off with evidence. Okay? Jesus Christ. This is not Australia. Yeah, it's not Australia. You got the number?
You hurt a 51-year-old woman. You knocked me over. You killed my dog.
I tripped
who's
over.
old.
Okay?
No, you did not.
Yeah.
You pushed
No,
me down.
I tripped over.
You
That's
assaulted
whatever
me.
it was.
You assaulted
Okay.
me. You just assaulted me. I've got
did.
witnesses.
We told
I've
you to
got-
hand over the phone.
I have got witnesses.
You handed it to her. I tripped over you.
You pushed
That's what
me
happened.
down in my own home.
No, I didn't.
You
I
absolutely
covered the environment. That's all.
So it seems I've made enemies of politicians.
Politicians.
And now the police.
So, oh dear.
Christo was arrested by the Terror Police, specifically the Fixated Persons Unit, charged with 4 counts of stalking and intimidation. So we're now facing criminal charges and a defamation suit. We raised $1 million in legal funds, which we're still using to this day. Thank you.
$1 million. And I remember that in the defamation case, that was one of the points that Barillaro's lawyers really didn't like, the fact that he was able to raise so much money. And it's interesting because it's the same barrister that complained there has complained in the Crikey lawsuit against Murdoch. Wow.
Thank you so much. Weeks after the arrest, New South Wales is plunged into lockdown, and I know from how much time I had to spend on it, instead of focusing on his job as deputy premier during a crisis, Barillaro is spending a significant amount of his time preparing his defamation suit against a YouTuber. Even Logan Paul had the decency back out of that.
As I said, is it Nail? Or Nail? Sorry, I'm not very good at pronouncing names. If we didn't actually go through this journey with Friendly Geordies and have seen this all played out, you wouldn't believe it. This is so unbelievable that it's you know, you think it's not true, but we've followed this journey with him. I've got quite a few videos. If there's a whole playlist under Friendly Geordies versus Barillaro, where we have looked at all of this. He hasn't even. We're not even halfway through yet, and I just went, I can't believe it. This is just. And this is a guy that's a comedian. He says he's a YouTuber, but I tell you what, if there was somebody that could use the term journalist, it would be this guy.
Barillaro even goes on television to spread lies about his involvement with the Fixated Persons Unit, making the insane denial that he had anything to do with the
this. Did you ask for the fixated persons investigation unit to be involved in the arrest of Jordan Shanks's employee, Christo Lanka?
Absolutely.
Nail.
Rubbish again. Rubbish. You know, they want to pitch it a particular way to get community support from their social community. They use whatever means to misrepresent the truth. And again, I'll leave that up to the police. They'll deal with the police in due course.
Nayeli. Okay, I'll try that one. Nayeli. So I remember we watched this video and we were quite stunned by it.
Right, but just to clarify, so you had no role in that particular unit being involved?
I've actually made it clear. I've said absolutely not. And again, you two can be asking that question. It's an indictment on ethical journalists.
I then release a video.
I want to know whether his reaction to that question being asked was him being guilty.
That criticises the police's response, and shockingly, I know you're not going to believe this, that the guy that complained to the police had something to do with the police being involved in Christo's arrest. Always the one you least suspect. In this video, the police asked the court to find him in criminal contempt and launch an application for a suppression order. That's right, the police try to get another criminal prosecution on top of the charges against Christo. Thankfully, it doesn't go so well with the cops. They end up withdrawing the application and paying both Christo and my legal costs of over $20,000. But Christo's criminal charges still hang over him, and my depot tax is still on. During this time, Barilaro also decided to publicly announce his intention to resign from politics, basically saying,
This is where it gets really, really interesting, though, because yes, we get out that we're still getting to the excitement. I know I was going to bed, but as I said, I was going to say goodbye, but then I started talking about this video, and it was unbelievable. Sitting on 23,000 views in 2 hours. This is big stuff. We need to get this out there.
The defamation case definitely playing a big part of this. I don't know how many of you can endure what I've endured on online. I feel for young men and women, young boys and girls that get bullied on social media. I feel for them because as someone that's been around the traps, a 49-year-old man that's played it rough and tough. I've got to tell you that it's made it very difficult for me.
as all this is going on, in order to understand how this bizarre and overtly political prosecution came about, Christo's lawyers started issuing subpoenas to Barilaro's staff.
Again, another twist. Another twist. Oh, dear. Here comes another twist.
His chief of staff, Joanne Cochrane, seems to rid herself of certain documents and becomes completely uncontactable by the court or lawyers. It's a pretty serious thing to do, ignoring the court, so the magistrate floats issuing a possible arrest warrant. Until just in time, her lawyers make contact, and she's eventually brought in and cross-examined by Christo's barrister, Emmanuel Fergucheri. During the cross-examination, Hambler admits that she got rid of documents from her possession, documents pertaining to Christo's arrest, after she'd already been subpoenaed. We never got those documents, and Hambler never got any punishment for blatantly hiding from a subpoena.
What? This is bizarre! This is bizarre! Is this the real life? Is it just fantasy? Hello, Bo, our favourite friend, Bruzman. Oh. Caught in a landslide. So I said, this is just unbelievable.
Meanwhile, back in the rain.
Meanwhile.
During this time, I'm also fighting the defamation case brought by Barilaro. I put in an application to have it heard by a jury, something pretty common sense that you'd think you'd automatically be entitled to, right? Well, Barilaro opposed the jury, wanting the case to be heard by a judge only. With his legal team's reasoning being, it would be too hard to organise with COVID.
Right, and it says, his Justice Rez says, we're in the middle of a pandemic, which will have an impact on the way the trial is run. If it is a if it is decided the jury will be used. He said he has taken notice of issues such as the new variant of COVID-19 being detected in South Africa, which is more transmissible. This is where we get a plot twist. Okay, so defamation trial, a case for the good sense of jury court trial. Remember, the trial should be a judge alone because of Mr. Shanks has been inciting an extreme level of hatred against her clients and his lawyers, including herself, which has been poisoning the well of public sentiment. Yes, that was another reason as well that she was saying. All right, here is the next plot twist.
Ironically, John was in charge of the COVID roadmap to ending the lockdown in New South Wales. And on the same day his legal team were opposing a jury on those grounds, John was publicly flagging his intention to open up New South Wales ASAP.
So, John Barilara's lawyer just spent the day in court successfully arguing that I shouldn't be allowed a jury trial because of the indefinite lockdown in New South Wales. Yet, on the same day, Barilara says he's going to end lockdown.
I lost my application for a jury despite that and was ordered to pay costs to John Barilara's lawyers for daring to even ask. Now, ready to hear the most mind-bogglingly illogical challenge that we faced during the defo case.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Oh, as I said, this is so unbelievable. Yeah.
One of the things that John was suing me for was saying that he had lied to Parliament. Yet because of parliamentary privilege, basically English law from the 17th century designed to protect politicians' freedom of speech.
So this is the law of parliamentary privilege in New South Wales is the sum of certain immunities, rights and powers enjoyed by the individual houses of parliament of New South Wales together with their members and committees as constitute parts of the legislature. The law is complex. It is liberally interspersed with uncertainty and ambiguity. It is also distinctly different from the law of privilege in other Australian jurisdictions, including the Commonwealth, and is also from overseas jurisdictions. It is singular to the degree in which it relies on common law, without recourse, statutory expression, or to the historical privileges of the Houses of Parliament in the United Kingdom. Nevertheless, in some respects, the Parliament of New South Wales has been remarkably successful through the courts and through its own procedures in asserting the powers and rights of members under the banner of parliamentary privilege, notably in relation to orders for the production of state papers. Parliamentary privilege in New South Wales is complex, derives from three sources. Certain privileges founded on common law, the test of necessity or reasonable necessity as it is sometimes known, although nothing appears to turn on the word reasonable. Certain statutes, notably the Parliamentary Evidence Act of 1901, New South Wales, and from the statutory adoption of Article 9 of the English Bill of Rights. Yes, we still have a lot of English law in our Australian law.
The King of England getting in your face. In Australia, nothing said in Parliament can be examined by a court. For Americans, Parliament is like Congress. That means I'm unable to present a transcript in which we lead John lied to Parliament in order to mount my defence. John brings a suit against me and then hides behind special parliamentary protections only afforded to him. So my legal team launches an application to strike out that claim, opposed again by Barilara, who fights tooth and nail to keep that claim in and keep his special protections that prevent his own words from being examined in court. And guess what? We lose.
We lose. Guess what? We lose. Yeah, it was, again, it was a complex matter because it would have gone in, there would have been, I believe the federal court could have actually ruled on it, but yeah.
Judge ruled that it would be more unfair to deprive Barilara of the right to vindicate impossible for me to defend myself. So I'm basically stuck in court with no jury of my peers, a judge that doesn't know the first thing about social media, and I can say that because at one point he was asking for someone to explain to him what tagging is. I'm also...
What tagging is? Yes, well, tagging's not graffiti. Wait on, let's have a look at that.
So I'm basically stuck in court with no jury of my peers, a judge that doesn't know the first thing about social media, and I can say that because...
So this is a transcript. So this is what a transcript would look like. So they've obviously applied for the transcript. So it says, how did you become aware of that video? People were tagging John on Twitter and Facebook with links of that video. So you saw the social media post tagging him? Yes. As a result of seeing those, did you watch the video? Watch the video? Yes. His Honor. So what does it mean to say tagging him on those platforms? So they, for example, on Twitter, they would say John Barilaro MP or whatever the handle was. Look at this video, and then it was the link to the video. So His Honor wanted to know what tagging, what does it mean to say tagging him?
At one point, he was asking for someone to explain to him what tagging is. I'm also stuck with the claim that I can't defend myself from, so it's already an automatic loss for me because my opponent, the man who brought the lawsuit, is protected by a British law from the 17th century. Oh yeah, and all the while, I'm being surveilled by a dedicated strike force on behalf of John Barilaro. I hadn't even been firebombed yet someone thought I hadn't suffered enough. So I entered court-ordered mediation with Barilaro with this knowledge, and we come to a deal. I say sorry for hurting your feelings, pay the cost to his lawyers for the jury and parliamentary privilege, strike out applications that I'd already had to pay for them, because I lost those, and I stopped selling merch that depicts Barilaro as a scrotum. And in exchange, he drops a defo case against me. In the end, it was a phenomenal deal for me, considering the circumstances, because Barilaro didn't get a cent from me, and I only had to pay what I would have even if I stayed in the suit. That is pretty unheard of in defamation mediation. Defamation cases are pretty much rigged in Australia. For a defendant to come out with not even 1 cent of damages to be paid to the complainant, that's like winning the Running Man. It doesn't happen. It's almost as if Barilaro didn't want me down to my other defences. You know, those that weren't stopped by a 17th century shield.
It's a good point. He only had to edit the videos and apologise. Say sorry for hurting your feelings. That was what he had to say.
It was like he had me on the hook, and then he threw me back out the seat.
I love that picture.
Didn't want me down to my other defences. You know, those that weren't stopped by a 17th century shield. It was like he had me on the hook, and then he threw me.
That is classic. That is classic. Oh dear, you gotta. Oh, that needs to be copied. That's just great.
Barilaro wasn't just suing me, he was also suing Google to post my videos on YouTube, and Google and him don't come to a deal, so the case is still set to 2022. In late December of 2021, I released a video detailing the guy I found an Ashley Madison account linked to John Barilaro's email address and personal details. You know the website that had the slogan, "Life is short, have an affair"? It was hacked a few years ago.
So here's the thing. It was hacked.
I swear to God, as with the rest of this album, you couldn't make this.
You can't make this up. You can't make this stuff up.
The username on the account was John Loves.
Remember that? Again, this is another video that got taken down.
The video has been taken down by YouTube in Australia, but American subs probably still could be able to see it. It's the video with the lick emoji as the title. It's very funny. I wish I could go more into it now. Moving on. It's now early 2022. Christo's criminal trial is fast approaching, and so is John's defamation trial. Yet very, very...
Yes, I did. I did see the irony of the catch and release. Yes, I did. It's very clever. It's a very clever video.
Very strangely, just a bit over a week before John's defamation trial was set to begin, police dropped the charges against Christo and paid his legal costs. Again, almost like the police were working to benefit John, so he could have a bargaining chip in his defo case. Then, another strange thing happens, perhaps the most tragic of them all. Just days before Google was set to go against John, they dropped all their legal defences.
Again, this is still baffled me to this day. But it's interesting now because since the new public interest defence had come in, and that probably would have been their strongest defence, that it was in the public interest because he was a politician. That, in my opinion, may have really muddied the waters because it crossed over between the old defamation laws and the new defamation laws, and I know there was a big discussion about whether the old ones were going to come into play or the new ones were going to come into play. But there's a public interest defence now, which would have been Google's strongest, in my opinion, would have been their strongest defence.
Leaving John with the legal equivalent of a player. He now couldn't lose, and the trial would just be a question of how much money he paid. This was completely illogical on Google's part, and to me it was very, very suspicious. There was no logical, strategic reason for them to drop the defences, so this results in John's lawyers being able to spend the entire trial getting whatever bullshit they like, repeatedly smearing me as racist, misunderstanding jokes, misrepresenting the timeline of the videos to make it seem like John didn't react first, dramatically overstating to the point that it was comical how much advert YouTube videos.
Oh yes, this is the interesting. This again, he will make a joke about this, and it's very clever.
And worst of all, John wasn't asked point blank any difficult questions, and I'm not there to defend myself or give a true account of what actually happened. Most importantly for John, he got away with this narrative. I was driven out of politics by this horrible racist, much more powerful than me YouTube men, and Google made so much money from his awful videos. Yes, one of the richest corporations really needed a few $1,000s Australian in AdWords. That's why my videos were kept up, pure commercial interest. I'm single-handedly keeping Google afloat, guys.
Yes. And don't forget that they had Google had reviewed multiple videos. This all came out in the lawsuit, that Google had manually reviewed the videos and thought that there was a public interest matter in them, that there was some issues in there that really needed to come to the front.
That's the meat of the case. The reason John would be awarded damages centres around the claim that he was forced to resign because of my videos and the fact that Google kept them up. Keep that in mind. After a few days of the trial finished, on the 6th of June 2022, the judgment comes out and awards John over $700,000 in damages. And not only that, the judge refers me to the registrar for consideration of possible criminal contempt.
Yes! That's right, for potential contempt. So, all right. So, Beth, it's about to get crazier, guys. Buckle up. Buckle up. It's not even. We're not even at the crazy part yet. Buckle up.
Most of it is a video I made that detailed John wants to live in Ashley Madison's town. That was apparently criminally intimidating. But John getting a strike force on us wasn't. So throughout the course of this ordeal, John got away with his chief of staff deliberately ignoring subpoenas, having a police unit surveil us, using police to bring audacious charges to use as a bargaining chip in a separate civil trial, opposing a jury, hiding behind parliamentary privilege. My great crime has stayed the same throughout this ordeal, and it just might be why I was firebombed, which is being an annoying pest to a lot of very powerful people in Australia.
The most annoying man in Australia. All right, so that's his crime. Oh, because we've still got to get to the parliamentary inquiry yet. We're not even at the craziest part yet.
So John had his big win. But one thing he didn't tell the court, what his lawyers didn't tell Justice Rares, or us for that matter, during the trial, John had already had a few very, very lucrative career moves lined right up. In fact, better paid than his job as Deputy Premier. Barely a week after the judgment came out, the New South Wales government announced it was appointing John Barilaro to be New South Wales Trade Commissioner in New York, a $500,000 a year taxpayer-funded job that John himself created right in the office.
Right. Yes. Remember? He got appointed and he actually made the job while he was in office. All right.
This wasn't even the worst Barilaro had done that year, but created by far the largest controversy of his career. A parliamentary inquiry was set up to figure exactly how John got that job. And I can't really go into everything here, but suffice to say, it was pretty damning. One of his ex-staffers alleged that as early as 2019, John had said that that big New York job was the job for when I get the out of this place. New South Wales Parliament then questioned John about the timing.
Yeah. So, as I said, this is getting crazier and crazier. You can't make this stuff up.
John stated under oath that he had only decided to resign
Oh.
presented an affidavit from his defamation case against me that contradicted that evidence.
In that meeting, you were yet to decide you were resigning at that point. Absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely not. As I said, if the events of Friday didn't occur, I would have stayed on for who knows how long. This is your outline of evidence in your court case. And can you just read out the highlighted? I have therefore made a decision to retire from politics and do not want to face another election. And what's the date on that down the bottom? The 24th of September.
So, Barilaro had absolutely not decided he was resigning in a meeting involving the trade job. He said that on Monday, 27th of September. Who knows how long he would have remained if the Premier's resignation didn't occur on Friday, the 1st of October. Barilaro had decided to retire due to abuse from Friendly Geordie's video on the 24th of September 2021. They don't make sense. This one was what the judge had said.
After this appearance at Parliament, all future appearances citing mental health issues. Mind you, this is after he's begging to tell his side of the story.
But the upper house won't call me to the hearing because they don't want to hear the truth. So give me the opportunity in a hearing, in real life time, live, for everybody to get the same information at the same time, and we can go through this process.
I'm planning on maybe doing a dive into that later in the year if you guys want, but this whole matter is still under investigation by New South Wales Parliament and was referred to the Independent Commission.
So now it's going to ICAC. It's going to be investigated by ICAC. Oh, dear.
John was also under investigation by the police. I promise to explain this to you. Clearly, John wasn't doing too well with all the attention his new job got him, because when cameramen went to film him one night regarding this scandal, this happened.
It's very clever the way he's done this, to be honest with you.
It was a long and winding road to get to that point, but we got there. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we found our firebomb. Cameraman Matt Costello. So bitter about Barilaro's epic beatdown, he had to prove himself to take him down the man the court's claim took him felt right. For the Yanks watching that as a joke, the cameraman's view was quite different from the exchange and couldn't work for a while, so we're now using our legal fund to pay for a legal action against John Barilaro on behalf of the camera.
That's going to be an interesting one. Oh, yes. So I'm sure he's going to, there'll be more evidence about that as well. It's crazy. This is crazy.
Oh, just a quick update. Days ago, John's charges were dropped on the grounds of mental health. Quite strangely, the prosecutor barely objected. We'll soon be releasing a video of the strange circumstances surrounding the original delay in police charge of Barilaro and the conduct of the prosecution in the case, ultimately resulting in charges being dropped. Suffice to say, some pretty interesting and concerning information is set to come out. But you'd think this saga would end, all right? No. In the 6 months...
It's still going at the saga.
John quit politics.
Oh.
I don't know how he managed to do it, but this one is even more scandalous. Executive Director of large city property development consolidation property co. In August last year, we released an investigation into the developer, which detailed never before published links between them and one of the most violent crime organisations in all of Australian history, the Almaden crime family, who are in no way suspects of the firebombing. No, not them. I'm sure they all have very credible alibis. We revealed with our former Secretary and Director of the Construction Wing of Coronation, M.M. Bruz. He was charged with kidnapping in 2001 after an extremely violent incident where a man was chased down, kidnapped, held against his will and bashed by a group of bikers, one of whom is now on trial for murder. These charges were only dropped after the victim seemingly disappeared. We also have revealed photos of Nahas with high-ranking members of the Almaden crime family. All that info can be found in articles.
It's freaky, isn't it? This is just crazy.
On our website, all the full video. And John Barilaro, after being essentially the leader of the state, went to work for Deeds Police. I told you New South Wales was rotten to the core. Stupid beef about an accent and the word bruz snowballed into a massive saga that made me the enemy of just about every elite in the state. Police, politicians, organised crime. I really should have chosen one to be friends with, so I have a little bit of cover. But... Oh yeah, also, there was a really loud, violent cop that arrested Christo and assaulted his mum and girlfriend. We did a video that detailed some pretty strange behaviour of his in the courtroom, linked in the description. But we're not done. You know earlier I said New South Wales is the gambling capital of the world. Yeah. The gambling lobby came after me with a criminal prosecution.
And if you don't think that that's crazy enough, there's a link to Bruz as well.
Essentially, my producer Christo interviewed a terminally ill a man called Troy Stokes. Troy used to work for the gambling lobby. An entity called Clubs New South Wales. It was Troy's job to make sure venues were complying with anti-money laundering regulations. Spoiler alert, Arnold Schwarzenegger survives Running Man. Sorry, that was the wrong spoiler. These venues weren't complying, and it's very easy to launder money through poker machines in New South Wales. Check out this video we did with Boy Boy about it. So Troy leaked to federal parliament the fact that 95% of Clubs New South Wales venues weren't complying with money laundering regulations. Clubs New South Wales sued him, drained him of nearly $1 million in seemingly never-ending lawsuits. Troy had to sell his house. He then developed terminal cancer, so Christo interviewed him about the ordeal. Apparently that interview was criminally intimidating, enough for Clubs New South Wales to bring a private prosecution against Troy. So now I've made even more enemies. The gambling lobby and anyone that would use them to launder money.
Oh, this is a...
Sorry, after filming this, there was a few updates on this front. Clubs New South Wales fired their CEO, and then days later, John Barilaro become Clubs New South Wales' new CEO.
Yes! Yes! John Barilaro tried to make me come... I swear you can't make this stuff up! You can't make this stuff up!
95% of New South Wales venues weren't complying with money.
Oh dear.
Sued him, drained him of nearly $1 million in seemingly never-ending lawsuits. Troy had to sell his house. He then developed so Christo interviewed him about the ordeal. Apparently that interview was criminally intimidating, enough for Clubs New South Wales to bring a private prosecution against Troy and I. So now I've made even more enemies, the gambling lobby and anyone that would use them to launder money. Sorry, after filming this, there's a few updates on this front. Clubs New South Wales fired their CEO, and then days later, John Barilaro and Clubs New South Wales rejected him. By the way,
he got rejected by Clubs New South Wales.
out on the same day, John was saying in court he was too mentally ill to face his assault charges, but well enough to run Clubs New South Wales, one of the most scrutinised jobs in the country right now. Now you see, all these people are kind of just one group. They're avengers of dodgy. Perhaps a less hilarious update. Just a few days ago, the charges against Troy were dropped. Troy's civil suits were settled with Clubs New South Wales. And so were mine. This is breaking news. My criminal charge has been dropped. So well done me. And Troy, I suppose. The lawyers, they did their bit, but I think, the big player was definitely me. More on this soon. This is going on for a really long time. We also did some shit about cocaine, the opposition leader, $100 million security contract in Papua New Guinea. Can't go over that though. Watch it in your own time. What else? Allegations that the former defence minister went all eyes wide shut in Parliament prayer room. Numerous journalists and politicians publicly admitting their desire to have me thrown in jail. The 7th richest man in Australia threatening to sue me. Numerous other properties. A longer enemies list than Richard Nixon. So, despite having my suspicions, I'm still not completely sure as to who done it.
So he's just gone through the whole suspect list of who could have firebombed him. It's a great video to come back with. You've just got the whole history of everything.
Enough of this. It's now time for the friends. First of all, sorry to my neighbours and landlord and future apologies. Messy, I'm not going down without a fight. Big thank you to Boy, Pyrocynical, Moist Critical, Isaac Butterfield, Michael West, Kevin Rudd, Chris Wins, Michael Daly, Peter Cornell, my lawyers, and the people that house me in the meantime. And most importantly, you, the viewer. No, actually, just my patrons. You guys have really helped us in our darkest time and kept the business running. Everything we make from Patreon goes right back to paying the staff and making production possible, so you literally kept us afloat. But for the rest of you, chuck us a few bucks. You get early access to videos, extra content, and the more we have, the bigger we get, the bigger the truth bombs, the bigger the fire bombs that get hurled back in retaliation. Oh, and a massive thank you to everyone's favourite Russian Australian YouTuber. I did a thing for kitting out my new security. Check out that. There are too many people to thank for their support, so sorry if I missed you, but I've been here all day if I went through all of them. But as you can clearly see from this video, I really need to shut the fuck up sometimes. I was off for so long, by the way, I wasn't off the Patreon, so I still got videos every week. Was because I thought we'd stop to assess the threat level and get some more information, but it's been months and I still know about as much about the firebombing as the day it happened. So I got tired of waiting and not making videos for you guys. Plus I have some considerable gambling problems that I need to get money for. Just another little Australian joke. Tune in next week because even though we haven't been posted, we've been working, and I think you're in for a treat if you enjoy the rug being swept from under the feet of fat politicians. On that note, I'd also like to officially announce my new stand-up show.
Oh yes! Now this is this is really quite ironic. Watch.
That's right, bruz. Definitely not bruz. Didn't say that. Coming to a city Australia, hopefully. But hey, you never know. If enough of you high flyers in LA, that's right, Shreveport, Louisiana, subscribe, I just might catch a plane there and make a groundbreaking cultural observation that Burger King is called Hungry Jack's here. What up with that? Anyway, get your tickets now from friendlyjordies.com and see Bruz live on stage.
Bruz.
Down or again takes me out. To end the video, though, I thought I'd enlist the help of you fellow TikTokers. Yeah? Get this going on TikTok. At this point, I'm not sure the police can solve it alone, so make the firebombing like one of those murders you guys love to live through vicariously.
I don't think we'll ever know who did this. Everyone in town's a suspect.
I love how they just throw Simpsons episodes, like Simpsons clips in, and it just fits perfectly.
Well, I couldn't possibly solve this mystery.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I mean, it's my job, right?
And to get you started, I'll give you a clue. Exclusive, definitely real CCTV footage from the night of the fire. Like and subscribe, big vids coming.
Okay. So how's that? I mean, that was a pretty long video, but there was lots of stuff in there. That is just a crazy, crazy world. And on that note, we're so glad to see that Friendly Geordies is back, and he's going to not be silent. He's going to speak up and wow! A Liberal politician just admitted to circulating prawns of... let's have a look at this. This is crazy. This is the type of stuff Friendly Geordies was talking about. I was just about to go. Let's watch this. Watch this. This is unbelievable. How come they're letting him run again? Oh, you can't hear it? Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, he circulated a picture of a woman in Parliament of another female politician, images of to spreading naked photos of them. It's a revenge porn. And essentially, because he said he's sorry, they've said, we're going to let you run again for Parliament. So, interesting. So, I'm sorry you can't hear that. I'm sorry you couldn't hear that. That is just unbelievable. Oh, this is the party that, this is the Liberal Party. This is the party that Shanks has just been calling out. So it's the Liberal Party. So unbelievable. Anyway, on that note, I am going to go to bed. It is nearly, it's 11:40 p.m. So, hey, what's happened with Nicola Sturgeon? Did she resign or something? The Scottish is it Prime Minister? The first... Oh, she did resign. The First Minister of Scotland resigned. Look at this. So the First Minister of Scotland. has announced her intention to resign. Hands up if you think Nick has done a wonderful job. So, yeah. So, it's interesting because Arden resigned from New Zealand as well. So, there you go. So, interesting. So, she's resigned. So, resigning. Okay. So, on that note, I'm going to go to bed and I will catch you all again next time. Bye for now.